Alright guys, so we got DivineDFP here in the purple trunks on Abacid, up against AoEIV in the green trunks on Delhi. So we're playing on one of the custom maps. I believe it's Basin. I can't remember what this one is. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. So anyway, we've got the Delhi player, green trunks, north side, got a bit of fishing alongside his berries, while our Abacid player, not quite so fortunate, berries on the far side of the lake there. Well, the lake that does have the berries next to it, a little bit further away for him. So a little lucky for AoEIV with the spawn here, because that fishing gather rate is slightly faster than regular berries gather rate, so it'd be pretty much on par with his boosted berries gather rate. And while there is a slight amount of walk time, obviously, you know, he doesn't have to worry about using a dock to gather the fish. Well, there is this pond with 3 fish over here for DFP, who's happy to go for an early dock. He's going to actually dock up the other lake as well. A lot of fishing incoming here from both of our players. So fishing ramping up here for DivineDFP, or AoEIV. Also going to churn through those fish. He's actually getting forestry, which will finish up quite nicely. Free tech for our Delhi player, although his mosque a little bit delayed here. He is going to get wheelbarrow for free though. Or House of Wisdom also a little delayed for DFP in way of more fishing boats. Good haul of sheep there for AoEIV. DFP also scouting out, and he's also found a really good sheep count now. So more fishing boats being added here for DFP. AoEIV's also started fishing on this south side water. DFP adding a third dock now. AoEIV is only on the one bearing in mind, but I suppose once he finishes up this fish, or I suppose now that he's got a distance gather, he's stopping and he can always dock right over here. Start gathering up these shoreline fish. So both our players really able to propel our ecos a little bit early on here. And Dome of the Faith now going down for AoEIV, so it's actually prevented an early mosque start, but at the same time I guess he can always throw one down. Now that he's going to have the Scholars or House of Wisdom for DFP, really only needs the house just to connect. Yeah, there we go, he's adding a house to connect up the dock as well, and he should actually have pretty much tier 1 with that. Oh, not quite perhaps. He still can't quite reach the dock there. It's 7 out of 10, but once he gets that gather rate, it won't impact the fishing boats, I don't believe, but it is really handy for his villager eco. And we got 29 vill eco to 23. Because there is that 3-to-1 dock advantage for DFP, while AoEIV is going to have that age up a little bit quicker than his opponent, I believe, because DFP, don't believe he's working on getting it just yet. He's just getting the gold he needs for it, though. And his food eco is pretty insane right now. Well, Mosque now going down for AoEIV. He can start getting some scholars and start speeding up all his upgrades. He's got wheelbarrow, he's going to get survival techniques, and probably should get broad axe in the queue now as well. A little bit slow on starting that, but I guess he doesn't actually have any scholars queued. There we go, he's got one. And he's going to start double broad axe and start streaming the scholars. DivineDFP just looking to protect his investment here on the water, and he's actually brought a villager forward to try and deny AoEIV's attempt at getting a dock here. So he can protect this water with ease by the looks of things. So AoEIV can put a dock there that's not BM. Oh no, here we go. Add a dock off to the side here. And we've got Dow now slowly chipping away at all the fishing boats of DFP. Bit of an expense for AoEIV, but it is going to cut into the water eco. But bearing in mind, they do cost quite a substantial amount more than a fishing boat, more than twice as much. It looks like AoEIV are going to try and take this water. This one's nice and safe for him for the moment. And he's taking this one off DFP. DFP. Oh. Not got a Dow in the queue, I don't think. Well, AoEIV, he does, so it'll be scary for DFP unless he's willing to just shove on the land extremely hard from here, or try and defend while behind in terms of the dock production on the water. But we've actually got a age 2 here, so that's how late it was for DFP in the end, with this phenomenal water greed. And he's now been forced off the lakes, except for this one back at home here. So AoEIV looks to have secured 4 of the waters. Actually, 5 of the waters, really. Because this one's sort of in the center of ones he already controls. So DFP is now actually going to have to really start mustering up a force to try and snatch this back with the land units. Try and pressure his opponent's base for committing to so many Dow. Because he did ultimately get one over here and one over here. But it does really put a dent in DFP's eco now. He's down to 37. Bill count to the 34 of AoEIV, who's really sort of caught up on that front now. Now there's no water eco for DFP, but he's just starting to field some camels. He's going to prevent use of scholars on the shrines. So the first upgrade for the scholars is actually the one to contest shrines, but unfortunately for AoEIV, DFP is going to punish this with his unit aggression. But there is some units here to defend for AoEIV as well. So these compositions the players will have can be pretty much identical. AoEIV losing a scout there to DFP, who's now going to bring some more horsemen across. The Dow can't quite reach the fishing boats, I don't think. Some of these fishing boats being picked off here by our Abbasid player. So DFP now looking to threaten the docks with his land units. Nice, but it looks like the Delhi fishing boats actually have an attack. They're really quite handy for them to defend. Try and take an engagement on the water. I suppose that's why I thought that was a Dow. But this will be a rough engagement for AoEIV because the horsemen will really be nullified by the camel archers. The horsemen don't exactly hit all that hard to begin with, while the camel archers being used to whittle down scholars, though there's enough there to really heal everyone. And so DFP trying to chip away at the front line again, but he's lost a couple of horsemen. He can't quite fight under the tower. So AoEIV just enough there to defend. And he's in a spot where he can really relish the fact that he's ahead on the water at the moment. The dock now under a bit of threat, so he's going to have to try and take a fight without dropping any fishing boats here. DFP, nice surround on the bowman there. But AoEIV also sending his horsemen straight onto the camel archers, who are trying to focus down the scholars while they heal the army up through this. And populations are still pretty much even here. So I think ultimately DFP is having to back off for the minute, but I think he is actually starting to slightly creep ahead here on the land. He's getting his armory upgrades, and they are going to kick in pretty quick compared to the Delhi player, for instance, who hasn't even started his at the moment. Although AoEIV slightly ahead in terms of the Vil pop at the moment. It's going to be rough for him to try and get the berries there. AoEIV's dock over here is about to be made redundant. Sent to the abyss. Fishing boats just mounting one last stand, trying to pick off what little of the army they can. Because, I mean, for now, they're going to be useless unless AoEIV can add another dock, and I don't think he really wants to try and sneak one round to over the far side. So he's going to let that go, but DFP in a great spot now, as he's taken out a little bit more of his opponent's gathering. So AoEIV back down to 43, Eco to 47, 48 now for DFP. He's charging in on the gold gatherers. Most of this gold's going into scholar production at the moment, so AoEIV trying to keep everything healed through this. He really needs something to deal with all this cavalry. His own bow's not really able to get in the spot they need to be to pick off all the camel archers, who are really thinning out AoEIV's Vil count now. So DFP again still has that small Vil lead over his opponent. AoEIV just now adding another range, but he's forced off the wood on the other side of his base, so this is going to be a tough sell for him to try and maintain good gathering through this. He is adding a House of Learning though, so it's age 3 landmark. So House of Learning itself doesn't give any immediate bonus, but it's like an improved university for the Delhi with a bunch of unique techs. But meanwhile, this production of AoEIV is being sniped now, so he needs to try and muster up a good force here. He needs to try and get honed blades out here. But I don't know if he's going to be able to even get the barracks finished right now. So DFP going to deal a bit of a killing blow, I think. AoEIV a lot of gathering on the water right now, so he's still managing to maintain 45 eco, but he's still dropping villages like flies at the moment. DFP, an impressive army in his base, 30 army size to the 20 of AoEIV, and bearing in mind some of that is these Dow that he's still got out in the map. More gathering being interrupted, but AoEIV has added a dock back at home just to get a little bit more gathering done. These guys can actually at least take a ranged engagement. AoEIV able to get Tarrelly here in the meanwhile. He's lost a lot of this production, but does have that one elephant. He's trying to get the resources he needs to spit out some more units, but not able to get any more gold to get another alley. So DFP has really picked him apart at the moment, and he's got to try and get gold far away, but he's not been successful. Still got that mining camp attempted over there, but he's been interrupted. The Tower Elite not able to take an engagement against so many units. There's nothing really here to support it at the moment. That Scholar is going to need to evacuate soon. So the Tower Elite is going to fall here, I think. There's all these Camel Archers coming in to support. The Scholar's being picked off, and DFP, I think, has taken this game and series and the tournament with it. AoEIV, no army left now. Waiting on upgrades, but there's nothing in production here. I think he's just saying congratulations to his opponent, and GG, we have a winner in DFP.